We can do that is by making our own meaning in this world. Did anyone happen to look up at the sky last night and see those amazing stars? It was just the band of the Milky Way was so bright. And as we look up there, this giant, ungraspable cosmos, it's easy to be unclear about what our personal place is and what our meaning is. And yet, we have that discretion as storytelling beings. That's what separates humans from other animals, is that we get to describe and bring back to the group our own personal experience. And in the telling of the story, we make meaning of it. We could just be a little speck on a little speck in this vast cosmos where nothing matters, or we can savor the magic of this life in awe and in reverence and in gratitude, and look for ways to uplift the energy and make a positive difference in this world. We have that power to interpret life's events. We may not be able to control what exactly happens to us, but in telling the story of it and seeking to find some lessons in what happens to us, that's where our power lies. I was at a festival recently and met this beautiful young father who gave an announcement about how he was doing a youth adventure education program. He was so enthusiastic about it and glad that he could spend time with his kids, because he had been busy working in the construction industry for 25 years, away all the time, missing the chance to help raise his young kids. And I was giving him a little body work, and I went down his arm and I got to his hand and he was missing a finger. And I was like, whoa, what happened to you? And yes, he had had a lapse in mindfulness and cut off his finger in his carpentry job. And at first that seemed like really bad news. However, it turned out to be a liberation for him, because he had to reinvent himself. And he really wanted to spend time with his kids, so he created this youth education program where his children were a part of it and became co-leaders. His son would ride the bike out in front of the crew as they went exploring. And so we have that ability. We could lapse into depression and lament what's occurred in our lives, or we can somehow look for a deeper level of meaning and use that challenge as an opportunity to reinvent ourselves, as many people do when they get a chronic illness or a diagnosis of cancer. It can be one of the most scary, devastating things, and it's also an opportunity to take stock of what's truly important and to bring our lives into alignment with those values that we have. I had an opportunity to apply this advice the other day. I was bringing in some boxes of sculpture into Maui hands. I'm a sculptor, and I was delivering some artwork to the gallery. I had brought in 5 boxes for Pana to look through and choose which sculpture she would accept into the gallery. And I was bringing in the 6th box, and it had started to rain lately. And as I took a step onto the nice shiny wood floor of the gallery, my feet shot out from under us. And I was carrying this heavy box of fragile sculpture. I don't know if any of you have been into Maui hands, but there's this big installation of glass shelves and pedestals with thousands of dollars of art right there at the door. And as I was in the air headed for it, somehow I managed to do some kind of twist, and then there was this other pedestal of all this glassware, and somehow as I went down, I missed the pedestal. I held the box and landed on my elbow and my left hip, and survived the fall, didn't break anything. All of my sculptures were intact.
Wow.
I was bleeding, and they got me some ice and stuff, and I've been limping. But it does seem like that's bad news, right? But the reality, depending on how you look at it, It could have been so much worse. I could have destroyed $10,000 of other people's art and gotten cut, or hit my tailbone. I was lucky to land on the fleshy part of my butt, and I'm fine. So I just, in the moment, we have challenges, and we have a way of looking for the best in them, or looking for the message or the lesson encoded in them. So I encourage each of you to embrace that attitude of seeing the magic of life and telling a story about your life experiences that yields inspiration, rather than the story of how screwed up everything is and you're a victim and life sucks. We can tell the story of how we're survivors and we've handled hardship and transcended it and used it as grist for the mill to cultivate positive qualities like patience and compassion and stick-to-itiveness. And that applies to couples as well. It's good to have the story of we be a positive story where you attend to that which you value in your partner, their good qualities, and what you adore and appreciate about them. There's no shortage of little things that can bug you, and you can focus your binoculars on those things and get all aggro and think that there might be a better partner for you out there somewhere. Or we can behold the majesty of our partners and the destiny that brought us together, and to be in gratitude that we even have the opportunity to share our lives with another soul that we have committed to. So I'm inviting us to tell positive stories to our friends and lovers and to ourselves, and to catch ourselves if we are spinning out in some sort of negative interpretation of things, to just look up, expand the worldview, and recognize that we're under the dome of the sky. We're on this amazing blue-green planet in the middle of this vast universe. We have no idea of how we got here or where we're going. All we know is that we're awake, we're conscious, we're perceiving, we can see the rainbows and taste the mangoes and smell the flowers. So I invite you, the next time that you've forgotten maybe a little bit about the magic of your place in the universe, to expand your horizons and look around and see how you can up-level and uplift the energy in the world and the people in your life. It may seem like our lives are not that significant, but in terms of our interpersonal friendships and relationships, that is a place that we can make a real difference in the world. So I invite you to look for the best in one another, and to elicit that by approaching one another, each other, with this harmless, childlike approach that invites the other person to bring out their vulnerable sides because it's safe. You're not judging them, you're not criticizing or attacking that puts the person on defensive. Instead, we're inviting each of us to shine and show our positive qualities. So that is my message to you, brothers and sisters.